Download the AllStar app. Make your picks for UFC fights, challenge your friends, level up and win prizes. Link in description. Get it now. Let's just jump into the fight coming up first, and then we will talk about other things. May 11th, UFC Fight Night, St. Louis, Trey Waters. It's a crazy matchup, man. It's going to be phenomenal. What do you think of him in the matchup?
It's a very, like you said, it's a crazy matchup. It's a 7-inch height difference, 4.5-inch reach difference, and but I mean we both got to weigh in at 170. So if you're what you have in height, you lack in muscle denseness. The He's good. He's predominantly a boxer. He likes to stay out at range, strike, pepper his shots. The But I'm really good at getting on the inside of people because I've always been the shorter guy. I've always usually had given up the reach advantage. Not always, but usually. Like I fought a guy who had a 79-inch reach. I've trained with people who Hobson was like 6'3", I think, and I've trained with guys who are 6'7". So it's not that I can't do it. It's just gonna see how hard is it gonna be getting in. How many times am I gonna get hit going in?
Now, what'd you think of his last fight, his debut against Josh Quinlan?
For a short notice fight, he did well. He seemed a bit tired, but that's expected when you don't have a full camp. But he was able to slow it down, slow Quinlan down, kind of keep him on the outside, pepper him, and he wasn't rushing anything. And he stayed composed the whole time. It was definitely a good display of experience, and he especially on a bigger stage. So it's hats off to him for a great performance. I think certain things like with the cardio, even though it was short notice, when you're not used to fighting at a pace like I fight at, no matter how much cardio you do, if you never fight there, you're never going to be ready for it. So I think when he feels that pressure and that pace that I'm going to put on, he's going to get more tired than he's used to.
Now, you've been pretty active, man, since you debuted as a professional, right? But the last couple of years, you know, have been one fight in I don't even know how many months span, man. Not as active as you were, I mean, how has that couple of years been for you, not being able to fight as much?
I was looking back on it actually, and I think I have 11 fights as a pro, and I'm at like it's a little over 2 point. It's like 2 point something fights per year, which isn't what I want. I would like to have 3 fights a year. That's the pace I like to have. COVID kind of messed up a lot of that. I would have had a lot more if COVID wasn't a thing, but that also gives me the time isn't what I want, but it gives me the opportunity to work on things, kind of work on my mental side of things, grow up, mature a little more, be more prepared for the cage, handle some of my own demons so that I can give more to the sport, get further along financially so that I can give more to the sport. So it's a blessing and a curse. With the last couple, like after the Contender Series, I hurt my knees, had to get surgery. I had 1 tear in my left knee, 2 in my right knee. They're great now. I mean, they don't really ever bother me. The And then after the debut, I got in a car accident, so that kind of slowed me down for a couple months. And I was trying to jump back in and get in super quick, but I wasn't getting a fight, which is probably a good thing because then it gave me more time to prepare. And now I've had a great camp for this one.
Definitely. When you got into the car accident, right? Like, were there any, like, let's say, previous injuries that you had that came back, or were you physically were you okay?
I was pretty much golden. I was sore for my back was sore for a couple months, which is only makes sense. I mean, going from almost I don't know exactly what I was doing, but I wasn't going any more over 70. Um, but going from somewhere around 65 to dead stop, like I'm lucky to be alive, let alone walk away with barely any injuries. Like I have scars on my arm from cuts and whatnot. Um, but I didn't have. There was. They said there was no brain trauma, no concussion. My head was fine. Um, the biggest thing was just I was sore. My body was stiff. Sorry, the camera's shaking so much. I'm holding it. It's a little cold out. Uh, the the my body was really stiff and it was sore. And getting back into it, I had to be slow. I had to go a little slow so I didn't make my back worse. If we spar, I'm going hard, so you can do whatever you want.
So when did you actually get into like full blast training after the car accident?
Um, so full blast training. So I started prepping for a fight in January. I started getting back to training in September, just nice and slowly, light, moving around, no sparring. I don't think I was lifting yet, but in November I was like, all right, I'm good, I'm healthy, I can start hitting a little harder. Come January, like, all right, I'm good to fight, I'm good to go.
Well, I'm glad you took your time, man, because sometimes you know how fighters are. They want to get back in there as soon as possible. It doesn't matter how hurt they are.
Yeah, Volkanovski, perfect example, and it's crazy to see him talk about it too. Where he's like, he was at the press conference talking about like he doesn't feel right when he's not fighting, when he's not in camp, and it's just for people it just you get so wrapped up in it, so it feels like if you're not doing that, then you're not yourself, and what are you doing, and like why does life matter, and so many other things.
Yeah, I was talking with Brendan Loughnane, and he won the PFL championship, won $1 million, went through the season, beat everybody, and I asked him like, "Yo, what else can you do?" And he's just like, "Man, I just love it now. I don't have to worry about the money side. I just love it." And it's just like, that's a damn good answer, man, because you do have to love this shit to continue training and getting hurt and then recovering. You know, all of the stuff that you experience in your life.
Absolutely, and it's fortunately for me, I've set myself up so that I don't have to rely on fighting to make an income. I have a job and I have a business that I run, which makes my life a bit hectic and busy. Um, but it's given me the opportunity to not have to rush through my career. I don't have to take reckless opportunities to try to make money or try to rush my career. I can just do the right things each step I go. No rushing, just one step at a time. Do the right thing.
During your comeback, right? September, October, November, December. Were there any stumbling blocks? Do you feel like you could have like maybe recovered quicker, or was it just enough time?
I think it was a good enough time. I would say the biggest stumbling blocks were the mental side of things. Um, just being in a shit place, not feeling good about myself, kind of beating myself up. Um, but luckily, I've got a good team around me to kind of uplift me and remind me, like, hey, you got to do the right things. Like my coach is like, hey, you don't need to rush it. You're good, man. Just be smart. So even though I'm beating myself up, I'm not feeling great mentally. I'm being kept on the right path.
How important are those conversations with your coach, with your teammates, with your friends, with your family to build that confidence back up? You know what I mean? To feel better about yourself, so to say.
It's a make or break, man. If you don't have people doing that for you, it's now you're fighting a fight alone. And sometimes we're only human. We're gonna have bad days. We're gonna have days where we're not as strong, where we're not gonna be able to push ourselves as much. And if you're falling every time that you can't keep yourself up, then you're falling deeper into holes than you need to. You're falling more often than you need to because you don't have that support system to keep you going, to keep those wheels on the cart, whatever. Um, and so it minimizes the amount of times you fall off. It minimizes the amount of times that you are overcritical, that you're in a bad place mentally, that you're doing the wrong things. So it kind of corrals you, keeps you in a good place, or at least keeps you from falling off worse than you would. And that can, for some people, that's a lifesaver. Some people fall off and they fall off too hard. Um, and you got to build a good team around you, and you got to be grateful for them. You got to give them what they give you, and you love them, and that's all I can do for my team is I love them, and I'm super grateful for them. I want to be here without them.
Yeah, tell me more about the team around you, man. The teams around you, the training partners, the coaches that are helping you prepare for this upcoming challenge.
My head coach Dexter, he's been not only preparing me for this fight, he's been preparing me for my entire fighting career, my life as a man. I look up to him a lot, and I go to him a lot for guidance. My jiu-jitsu coach, I mean my jiu-jitsu, I had good grappling because I grew up being a wrestler, and my Dexter is a good jiu-jitsu coach. But our jiu-jitsu coach Kirkor, he elevated our grappling to a whole new level. He's helped me kind of mature in a lot of ways, mentally, spiritually, that I'm extremely grateful for, inside the cage and outside of the cage. My teammates, Jake Kasky, Eric Zane, they just fought. Eric Zane made his debut. Jake just had another great win. He's on a good streak right now. Back in March 30th, Cage Titans. So it's great to see them perform well, feel good in the cage. Happy to have them back training and whatnot. Not tomorrow night, Saturday night, April 20th, the my teammate's Austin Shawley. He's making his pro debut finally. I'm so excited for him to throw elbows at somebody. He's been my main training partner like my entire career. The first day I showed up here, he was beating me up, and he still is to this day. He's still peppering his jab right in my face. Um, I've rarely ever ran into. I've fought high level strikers. I've trained with high level strikers. I rarely have ever seen somebody put out striking as well as he does. And that's why everybody, when he fights people, they all wrestle him. They try to, at least. And we got a kid. He just graduated early this year. Just turned 18 a few months ago. He's making his amateur debut. Jared Sweet. He's always a pleasure to have around. Just someone who's younger, someone who's not so hurt. Some life in the gym. And it's we have a bunch of people, whether they're fighting or they're not fighting, they just come in once a week. They come in here and there. They're holding mitts for us while we're doing cardio. They'll do a couple smokers here and there. We're all part of the team, part of a family, and we push each other. We work hard in cardio, and that's the atmosphere that you create in the gym is what produces the results in the cage.
Yeah, man, definitely. And yeah, it seems like you have a family. You have a team, but you have a family around you. You know.
Oh yeah, it's you have to when you have like we have a super small gym.
Hmm.
Like this is. Hold on, I can show you right now.
All right.
This is our gym. Like it's not big at all. It goes a bit further back, like deeper inside, but
Yeah.
it's 20 by 40.
Hmm. Hey, world championships have been won in small places. You know what's up.
Oh yeah, Max Holloway has a small team.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. There's a lot of guys that are like that. Yeah, man. So what do you expect out of yourself in this one, man? We know what the stylistic matchup and everything is, but what are your expectations out of yourself shooting for that second straight win in the UFC?
So I want the finish. I want to get a finish so I can argue for a bonus. That'd be nice just for my life. I'm prepared for 15 minutes of getting my fucking ass beat just in case. Um, the what I'd like to see out of myself is a little more comfort in the cage, a little more mental presence, a little more awareness, and a couple things that we've been working on. A lot of movement things for not getting hit as much. And so it's like little details, little fight IQ things that I want to see for myself in this fight, so that I know that I'm growing in the ways that I need to, so that when I get a good heavy test in the future, I'll be ready for it.
I think I saw an interview that he did where he was predicting that he was gonna finish the fight. I think in the second round or something like that, or it's not gonna go into the third round. When you have opponents predicting what they're gonna do, does that fire you up, or is it just like, hey, it's just part of the game? I ain't even worried about that.
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, it's for me. It's always so weird. Like, hey, when you like, what's your prediction or something like what are we gonna it's hard for me to say like, oh, I'm gonna finish him in the first. I want the first round finish. That'd be really nice. But when I say that, now I got to go out and do it, and that's on your mind mentally, and you're focusing on it, and it's just, I don't know, it's like a weird juju thing. But also at the same time, I've been thinking lately, like some people just they're a little more confident. Maybe they're willing to strut their stuff and they're willing to put it all out there, um, which is fair. For me, it's always just like it is what it is. Whatever comes, comes. I'm prepared for anything, and I know, like when in his interview, I don't mind him saying that he's going to get a first round finish. I did. He said that he was that, and it's the word choice. He said I was going to grow weary, and I didn't really care for that because I'm not one who quits. That's I'm sometimes I'm not always better that night. Sometimes my opponent's the better man that night. Sometimes he's a little crisper, his technique's better. I eat some shots and I don't have the cleanest performance. Um, but I'm not a quitter. I'm not someone who's gonna lay down. So to say that I'm gonna grow weary, just kind of like, oh, like that one kind of fired me up a bit.
All right, one last thing. What do you think of these rumors about a 165-pound division coming in?
It depends on what they do. So like with the like some guys from 55 are going to move up. I bet Islam would move up. Maybe not. I mean, he makes the weight cut to 55. Maybe not want to get. He might not want to give up the size advantage for 65. If they were to do the 65 division, they might be a little stricter on weight cutting. Maybe not.
Yeah,
The biggest thing is they're going to thin out the ranks, which they can have a bigger roster now, so they don't necessarily have to cut people. Just certain people are going to move and shift. I have a pretty easy weight cut to 170, so I could see myself going to 165. They're going to get rid of the 170-pound division. Uh, so I wonder, like, does 65 become welterweight? And, like, which one becomes welterweight and whatnot? I hope they do it not too soon. I hope I can win a welterweight title at 170 beforehand. Then they can make whatever fucking divisions they want. Excuse my French. The But if they make a 165, 175, that makes sense. I mean, that's what they're doing up until
yeah.
170. So it makes sense. It's going to put a lot of people in weird positions weight wise. Some people are going to have to slim down to go to 65 because they don't want to be at 75. Some people are going to have to bulk up a little bit. Um, who knows? I'd probably go to 65 because I have an easy weight cut at 170. I used to fight at 55. And that was brutal. And I wouldn't do that now.
Hey,
I
you
like
fought at
where I'm at
185, so
on 2 weeks' notice.
yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, the McGregor Chandler fight is supposed to be at 175.
175, it's a catchweight,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
is
he's a
it like
catchweight.
okay? So it's
That's what they
because
say. That's what they say.
I saw I saw Chandler said something about he wouldn't be surprised if it said
Yeah,
165 for a new. Um,
yeah,
which I mean, which the shitty thing is that they would do that for Connor. Like I bet they would do that so that they can like they would say no to Alex Pereira being fighting at heavyweight, so he doesn't have a chance to become a triple time champ or a triple weight class champ. But they'll make 165 and let Chandler and McGregor fight for the title, so that McGregor has
yeah,
the chance to become a three belt champ, and he can do it
yeah,
first because
yeah,
he's a company
yeah.
man, and they want to help him out. It is just fucking ridiculous, dude. He doesn't deserve a title fight.
You know what's up. You know what's up. I didn't even think of that, right? Because they could be thinking that far ahead. We're like, Pereira, we know you could fight in Rio, but we're not gonna give it to you because possibly you could be the three division champ, and Connor's over here. Like, you never know. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. But man, May 11th, you're back in action in front of a crowd, St. Louis. Billy, always good catching up with you, man. And all the best in the fight. And yeah, man, I hope you could get like three of them this year, man.
That's my plan. I can if I get May, then I can do like
Mhm.
August or September, and then I can do like
Yeah.
December.